Greetings all, and welcome to the 16th episode of TM Technical Movement. For today, we'll be taking a look at the double kick, low sweep, rolling kick, jump kick, high jump kick, axe kick, triple kick, and thunderous kick attacks, and the bulk up and victory dance techniques. Much as its name suggests, the double kick attack involves striking the opposition with both back feet quickly in succession. Although the attack is technically more common among non-fighting type Pokemon than it is among Pokemon that actually utilize the move to its fullest, the double kick attack is classified as a fighting type move for its ability to quickly damage and potentially break through armor through its repeated dual strikes. Much like the Fury attack, the double kick attack can strike quickly enough with a pair of feet that the opponent has no time to recover before the second strike is delivered, effectively ensuring that both strikes hit their target. Unlike similar moves, however, the double kick attack is actually quite accurate and nearly impossible to avoid in close quarters, in turn making it a great move for those able to learn it naturally. The move is equally easy to execute in close quarters, and is oddly cost efficient when it comes to stamina expenditure, making it a great move to use in any battle situation overall. Due to its simplicity, however, there is also little chance to manipulate the attack or use it outside of a face-to-face confrontation, so its usage outside of a purely physical fight is fairly limited. It is also noted that because the attack actually strikes multiple times in a short period of time, it can be used to override the effects of the sturdy ability and items like the Focus Sash or Focus Band, as well as amplify the effects of the weak armor ability. Since an opponent must utilize its legs in order to execute a double kick attack, damaging the appendages before the attack can connect can help reduce or even negate the amount of damage dealt by this attack. Otherwise, however, the attack is exceptionally difficult to dodge in close quarters. Armor is of little use in protecting against this attack, and may even do more harm than good if pieces of armor are driven inward by the force of the attack's impact. Although the double kick attack is able to take advantage of abilities like sturdy and weak armor, as well as items like the Focus Sash and Focus Band, this should only be a major issue if the Pokemon in question also possesses armor, thus making the attack less than threatening in most cases. As one might imagine, the low kick attack involves striking the opponent's ankles with a powerful kick, toppling them over almost instantly. In truth, the execution of a low kick attack does not do much damage at all. The true source of damage is actually the sudden fall that follows the attack. With some animals, a fall can easily be dealt with simply by tightening the right muscles before impact to reduce damage. This is what allows even humans to survive otherwise devastating falls without experiencing much trauma. The low kick attack, however, is delivered so quickly that the opponent's brain cannot react quickly enough to brace the body for impact. In short, it's literally like taking the chair right out from underneath someone just as they are about to sit down. As such, the amount of damage the attack actually does is dependent upon the impulse that is exerted upon an opponent from the ground, which in turn completely depends upon their mass. For lighter opponents, the attack is fairly weak and may only have a base power of about 20. For the heaviest of Pokemon though, the base power can be as high as 120, in turn making the attack one of the most powerful fighting type moves available. Add into that the normally perfect accuracy rate and a fairly low stamina cost, and it comes as no surprise that the attack is favored among many strategists that bank on the opponent using large heavy Pokemon as their primary line of offense, something that was undoubtedly made easier when the move was converted into TR-07 for Silphco's first line of TRs, and then TM-12 in the 9th generation line of TMs. As with the double kick attack, because an opponent must utilize his legs in order to execute a low kick attack, damaging the appendages before the attack can connect can help reduce or even negate the amount of damage dealt by this attack. Otherwise, however, the attack can be exceptionally difficult to dodge in close quarters. Armor is of little use in protecting against this attack, and may even do more harm than good if pieces of armor are driven inward from the impact with the ground. Although the low kick attack is generally ignored in favor of more direct methods of damage because of its dependence on the target's mass, those that know how to use the move properly will gladly do so at every available opportunity. As such, it is highly recommended that a considerable distance be kept from the opposition to prevent having to deal with the sudden execution of the attack in close quarters, or at the very least, the one uses light Pokemon to reduce the amount of damage the attack is capable of actually dealing. In short, the low sweep attack involves striking the opponent's legs with a fairly harsh kick, in turn inflicting decent physical trauma. Unlike the low kick attack, which delivers its damage potential from an opponent's mass alone, the low sweep attack is a slightly more advanced form that requires more finesse and expertise in martial arts to perform. This is primarily because the attack involves striking an opponent's legs, rather than their ankles, in an attempt to both deal damage and slow them down. While this lowers the amount of damage the attack can actually do even at its strongest, it comes with the benefit of temporarily reducing the effectiveness of an opponent's legs, and in turn reducing their speed stat every time the attack lands. The attack's relatively low stamina usage further makes it an effective move for acquiring an advantage over a much faster opponent, but careful consideration should still be paid to the move's execution, as flying types may not be quite as limited as other Pokemon when hit by the attack, and only a few species of Pokemon are actually able to use the attack naturally. Even so, the move has proven to be quite popular among all types of trainers for its decent damage potential and surprising versatility. It is this popularity that led Silphco to release the attack as TM-47 within their 5th through 7th generation line of TMs, TM-75 for their 8th generation line, TM-27 within the recent Sinnoh Special Edition set, and TM-39 in the 9th generation line, from which it has gained a steady cult following among professional trainers. As with similar moves, because an opponent must utilize its legs in order to execute a low sweep attack, damaging the appendages before the attack can connect can help reduce or even negate the amount of damage dealt by this attack. Otherwise, however, the attack can be exceptionally difficult to dodge in close quarters. Armor is of little use in protecting against this attack, and may even do more harm than good if pieces of armor are driven inward by the force of the attack's impact. Despite its lack of exceptional power, the low sweep attack is a potent move that can easily demobilize most types of Pokémon with little difficulty, so keeping a fair distance away from any opponent capable of utilizing the attack, in conjunction with strong defenses, is the best counter that can be made. In short, the rolling kick attack is effectively a roundhouse kick delivered quickly to the opposition without warning, and turn dazing them but potentially knocking them off balance. Although it consists of only a single kick, the rolling kick attack is still a fairly potent move for two reasons: its quick execution time and ability to stun the opposition. Instead of simply striking the opposition with a fully powered kick, Pokémon using the rolling kick attack utilize the momentum of their legs alone while rotating said limbs to deal damage, and turn allowing them to strike without any sort of warning. Unfortunately, this also does not make the attack exceptionally accurate, but trainers that know when to properly time the attack's execution usually have no trouble overcoming this issue. More importantly, if the rolling kick attack is executed perfectly, there's a 30% chance that will actually cause the opponent to flinch as a result of being dazed by the sudden and unexpected strike. Despite its relatively average damage capabilities, the rolling kick attack is still an interesting move that can help set up the opposition for a deadly succession of strikes when used under the proper circumstances. As one might imagine, because an opponent must utilize his legs in order to execute a rolling kick attack, damaging the appendages before the attack can connect can help reduce or even negate the amount of damage dealt by this attack. If this is not an option, however, fairly agile Pokémon should still be able to dodge the move in close quarters. Armor is of little use in protecting against this attack, and may even do more harm than good if pieces of armor are driven inward by the force of the attack's impact. Overall, the rolling kick attack is not a likely move to be seen in major tournaments, and is probably less than a legitimate threat in most cases, but its ability to potentially stop your Pokémon from attacking should nonetheless make it an important factor to consider when fighting an opponent with the fighting skill needed to actually use it, and worth countering with protection against flinching. As one would guess from its name, the jump kick attack is effectively a full power kick thrown while the user is coming down from a high jump. The jump kick is a staple move among human fighters and is exceptionally powerful in the hands of trained professionals, so it doesn't take a lot of thinking to understand how potentially destructive such a move can be in the hands of a fighting type Pokémon, or any Pokémon that can jump and then quickly kick with a tremendous amount of force for that matter. Leaping into the air before kicking adds a considerable amount of power to this attack because the user's initial horizontal velocity is combined with a vertical velocity in the ensuing blow, amplifying the amount of damage inflicted. In turn, this also means that the stamina needed to deliver the attack is fairly low in consideration of its high base power. However, the attack does come with one major problem that can easily turn out to be a game changer in nearly any battle. Since the user is in the air for a short period of time before delivering a jump kick attack, there is a slight chance that the opponent can actually dodge the attack completely. If this happens, the user of a jump kick attack cannot control their own momentum and easily stop themselves in mid-flight, leading them to crash foot first into the ground. The sheer force of such an impact is absolutely catastrophic and effectively depletes half of the user's maximum HP and recoil damage, which is certainly not the kind of backlash that needs to be encountered when in an intense combat situation. This can make the attack exceptionally risky to use in almost any situation, but since this event will generally only happen 5% of the time, it can more often than not be a safe risk to take in desperate situations. Since an opponent must utilize his legs in order to execute a jump kick attack, damaging the appendages before the attack can connect can help reduce and negate the damage dealt by this attack. If this is not an option, however, extremely agile Pokémon should still be able to dodge the move in close quarters. Armor is of little use in protecting against this attack, and may even do more harm than good if pieces of armor are driven inward by the force of the attack's impact. The jump kick attack's damage potential is simply too much to risk taking the brunt of, so evasive tactics in conjunction with strong defenses are heavily advised for dealing with it, especially since a single miss can prove to be absolutely devastating to an opponent's battle strategy in almost all situations. The high jump kick attack itself is effectively nothing more than a superpowered jumping knee kick designed to inflict a tremendous amount of force within a very small area of the opponent's body, in turn inflicting a significant amount of damage in the process. The jumping knee kick is a fairly specialized jump kick that requires a lot of stamina and strength on the part of the user, but since trained humans are more than able to perform such attacks, it comes as no surprise that several fighting type Pokémon can do so as well. Instead of simply leaping up and allowing gravity to change their vertical velocity, Pokémon utilizing a high jump kick attack use their own initial vertical motion as the source of momentum, in turn prompting them to switch out the traditional foot for the knee when delivering the impact. This has the effect of significantly increasing the attack's overall base power, without forcing the user to exert any more stamina than they would need to perform a jump kick attack, making the high jump kick attack a fairly good upgrade on its more basic counterpart. However, the move still suffers the same recoil issues possessed by the jump kick attack. Since some preparation time is needed to gather the proper strength required to deliver the attack without seriously damaging underlying tissue and bone, there is a chance that the move will miss completely. In fact, the preparation time for the attack is enough that it will likely miss about 10% of the time, which is twice as often as the jump kick attack. If the move misses, the user will be unable to control its own momentum and halt its motion, leading it to crash straight into the ground and lose about half of its maximum HP and recoil damage. This makes the attack much riskier than the jump kick attack in practice, but for trainers that need an extra boost in power to finish a battle, it's a risk safe enough to take in most cases, especially since the recoil is no more damaging than that from its counterpart. As with the jump kick attack, since an opponent must utilize its legs in order to execute a high jump kick attack, damaging the appendages before the attack can connect can help reduce or even negate the amount of damage dealt by the attack. If this is not an option, however, moderately agile Pokémon should still be able to dodge the attack in close quarters. Armor is of little use for protecting against this attack, and may even do more harm than good if pieces of armor are driven inward by the force of the attack's impact. The high jump kick attack's damage potential is simply too much to risk taking the brunt of, so evasive tactics in conjunction with strong defenses are highly advised for dealing with it, especially since a single miss can prove to be absolutely devastating to an opponent's battle strategy in almost all situations. The axe kick attack is a specialized kick that involves users using their powerful legs to kick themselves high into the air before slamming the heel of the foot downwards at an angle in order to inflict damage, and requires a lot of stamina and strength on the part of the user. Even trained humans can have some difficulty performing it, and even among Pokémon, it is a fairly rare attack to see at all. This is mainly because it requires the user to change the direction of motion as they move downward after kicking themselves straight into the air, and this sort of precision and power is hard for the normal leg structures of many Pokémon to handle. Regardless, this motion has the effect of significantly increasing the attack's overall base power over a basic jump kick, without forcing the user to exert any more stamina than they would need to perform said attack, and more importantly, because the attack is performed in such a unique and erratic way, and with a lot of flair in most cases, plus the attack is generally aimed at the head of a target, the move has the added benefit of potentially dazing and confusing a target 30% of the time when it connects, rendering it a dangerous weapon with a great deal of offensive and tactical potential. However, the move still suffers the same recoil issue possessed by the jump kick. Since some preparation time is needed to gather the proper strength required to deliver the attack without seriously damaging underlying tissue and bone, there is a chance that the move will miss completely. In fact, the preparation time for the attack is significant enough that it will likely miss about 10% of the time, which is twice as often as the jump kick attack. If the move misses, the user will be unable to control its own momentum and halt its motion, leading it to crash straight into the ground and lose about half of its maximum HP and recoil damage. This makes the attack much riskier than the jump kick attack in practice, but for trainers that need an extra boost in power to finish a battle, it's a risk safe enough to take in most cases, especially since the recoil is no more damaging than that from a regular jump kick attack. Since an opponent must utilize his legs in order to execute an axe kick attack, damaging the appendages before the attack can connect can help reduce or even negate the amount of damage dealt by this attack. If this is not an option, however, moderately agile Pokémon can still dodge the attack in close quarters. Armor is of little use in protecting against this attack, and may even do more harm than good if pieces of armor are driven inward by the force of the attack's impact. The axe kick attack's damage potential is simply too much to risk taking the brunt of, so evasive tactics in conjunction with strong defenses and anything that can help prevent or at least cure confusion are heavily advised for dealing with it, especially since a single miss can prove to be absolutely devastating to an opponent's battle strategy in almost all situations. Considered to be a specialty move for Pokémon like Hitmontop and Pheromosa, the triple kick attack effectively involves striking a target repeatedly with a series of 3 appendages consecutively in close quarters. The triple kick attack is designed to allow Hitmontop in particular to take full advantage of the leg-like tail by using it as a powerful striking weapon alongside their true feet and a simple 3-part kick attack executed while they are rotating, though it also can be seen being used by the lithe and quick-moving Pheromosa. However, because the creature using this move must rotate at high speeds in order to attack proficiently with all limbs at once, there are some slight issues with the move's actual mechanics. For one thing, each individual blow from the limbs is spaced far enough apart from each other that the attack counts as 3 separate strikes linked together, and thus will end if any one of them misses, but they are nonetheless close enough to prevent counterattacking until the move either ends or misses. Moreover, the attack of their increasing centrifugal force, or rotating, steadily increases the base power of the attack from 10 on the first blow to 20 and then 30 on the final blow, effectively giving the move a base power of 60 if all 3 strikes hit. This might seem too low for the move to be of much use, but in practice, this actually is a great distraction, because few targets can react perfectly to the triple strike attack without being placed off guard or forced to drop their guard to dodge the move, in turn setting them up for a nasty sneak attack. It might have little use as a form of direct offense, but as a distraction, the triple kick is an interesting move that can give trainers the opportunity they need to strike with a stronger attack while the opponent is busy trying to avoid damage. It is further noted that because the attack actually strikes multiple times in a short period of time, it can be used to override the effects of the sturdy ability and items like the Focus Sash and Focus Band, as well as amplify the effects of the weak armor ability. Although the attack can be deterred to some degree by striking the appendages an opponent utilizes in executing this attack, and all 3 blows count as separate strikes, each strike within a triple kick attack is spaced too closely together to enable any sort of physical counterattack. Thankfully, those using the move are not perfectly accurate while spinning, so moderately agile Pokémon should still be able to dodge the attack or at least some of the blows involved in close quarters. While the attack is capable of taking advantage of abilities like sturdy and weak armor, as well as items like the Focus Sash and Focus Band, the low amount of damage done by even a few blows is still minor enough in many cases to be negligible, reducing its overall effectiveness in light of more powerful attacks with similar functions. Armor is of little use in protecting against this attack, and may even do more harm than good if pieces of armor are driven inward by the force of the attack's impact, but even so, the triple kick attack is too quirky and specialized to rely on much in battle. For Hitmontop and Pheromosa trainers though, it can be the perfect opportunity to set a target up for a far more devastating blow, so it is better to simply take the brunt of this attack than risk dodging it and getting hit by something even more powerful as a follow-up. Considered to be the signature attack of Galarian Zapdos, the Thunderous Kick attack involves the use of moving around a target at extreme speeds in order to overwhelm them before striking with a powerful, forceful kick with sharp talons. Galarian Zapdos are gifted with unusual Fire-type attributes as a result of them feasting on the fruits of the Dyna Tree in the Crown Tundra of the Galar region, and aside from changing their stats and overall type assignment, it has gifted them with a unique attack that can make the most of the switch that comes to their offensive capabilities. In essence, the Thunderous Kick attack involves these creatures using their agility to rapidly move around and near an opponent in order to daze and confuse them a bit before suddenly lashing out and attacking with their clawed feet, delivering a potent kick that can inflict nasty wounds and a fair bit of damage in turn. While the attack might not look all that fancy, what makes it a dangerous move to encounter is the fact that when it is used successfully, the massive talons of the feet of Galarian Zapdos tear through the outer armor and flesh of the target as they make the impact, which allows the attack to lower the defense stat of a target every time it successfully connects with them. This can readily open up the opposition to the full offensive might of these birds and then some, rendering the attack a vicious blow that will only make battles against these birds worse the longer they go on. Since this bird must utilize its legs in order to execute a Thunderous Kick attack, damaging the appendages before the attack can connect cannot reduce or even negate the amount of damage dealt by its attack. Otherwise, however, it is exceptionally difficult to dodge in close quarters. Additionally, armor is of little use in protecting against this attack, and may even do more harm than good if pieces of armor are driven inward by the force of the attack's impact. The Thunderous Kick attack might not be a move that most trainers will have to worry about ever seeing, but if placed into a battle against a Galarian Zapdos, it is a wicked move that can deal powerful damage and severely weaken all that it strikes, making it a move that only Ghost-type Pokémon and those with naturally high physical defenses will have a good shot of avoiding the worst of. The bulk-up technique is a simple but efficient way for Pokémon to boost their overall physical capabilities in battle by tricking their bodies into working for them. In a bulk-up technique, the user tenses its muscles to the point where they are close to tearing from sheer force. This in turn tends to trigger the user's brain into releasing adrenaline to fuel their strength, which, after releasing the self-generated tension, boosts the overall strength of their muscles and increases both their physical endurance against pain and their capacity to inflict pain, therefore raising the user's attack and defense stats. It might not be anything fancy or completely special, but the sheer practicality of the bulk-up technique makes it a highly popular move among all types of trainers and was wisely released by Silphco as TM8 within the 3rd generation line of TMs, from which it's maintained enough popularity to be reproduced in almost all subsequent generations, including the recent Sinnoh Special Edition set, only recently becoming TR48 as part of the company's first line of TRs, and TM64 within the 9th generation line of TMs. Attacks and techniques that raise a Pokémon or lower an opponent's attack and defense stats are highly recommended for dealing with the bulk-up technique. Considered to be the signature technique of Hisuian Lilligant, the Victory Dance technique involves the user dancing with elegance and poise, and yet also with raw power, in order to heighten their offensive and defensive capabilities in a fight. As a consequence of their unique anatomy, Hisuian and Lilligant are able to make good use of their long limbs to not only deal severe damage to any opponent that steps in front of them, but also heighten their capacity to survive in any sort of fight, which is beautifully illustrated in the specialty Victory Dance technique. Similar to moves like Swords Dance, this move involves the user performing a special dance in order to alter their combat effectiveness in their favor. In the case of Hisuian and Lilligant, this fervent dance is one that not only shows off their quick movements and sturdy forms, but puts a note of pep in their step and heightens their capacity to both deliver and take incoming attacks with greater finesse. In essence, this move allows them to hone their physical bodies mentally and in turn raises their offensive and defensive stats. But at the same time, the unique way in which they perform this dance also has the effect of putting them into a meditative stance of sorts that enables them to focus their power fully into the mobility simultaneously, in turn boosting their attack, defense, and speed stats when used, allowing these creatures to deal devastating damage to any opponent that dares to confront them without power measures in place to mitigate the move's nasty effects. Attacks and techniques that increase a Pokémon's or decrease an opponent's attack, defense, and speed stats are highly recommended for dealing with the Victory Dance technique. That's it for this episode, so stay tuned to the next episode of TM Technical Movement. Thank you all for watching this video. It always brings me great joy to see others enjoying the work I do to try and make the world of Pokemon and the fascinating creatures that lay inside of it feel as real as they possibly can. If you really enjoy my work, please feel free to leave a comment and subscribe, as I always do my best to respond to any and all comments that are left on my videos.
In addition, if you wish to learn more about my work and help support it, you can find links to my Patreon page, as well as email and other contact information to my work on DeviantArt in the video description down below. Furthermore, you can find a link to my Discord server there as well if you'd like to get a first glimpse at what videos are coming up next and converse with other fans of the world of Pokemon. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and have a wonderful rest of your day.